once again. So I'm actually hitting like two other social media outlets. But I tend to spend a lot of time on TikTok, and I spend a lot of time talking about the trauma bond, um, and getting people out of the trauma bond. I think that's kind of important. Bear with me for 1 second. I need to fix the lighting here. It's kind of crazy. I feel like I got this big shine on my head. That should be a little bit better. I'm hoping that that is a little bit better. So, welcome to the live. And what we're talking about is those who are ready, those who are tired of the BS, those who are tired of making excuses for their abusers, making excuses for the narcissist. I'm talking to those people. That's who I'm reaching out to. Okay, so if that is you, please make sure that you stick around. Let me just share this out from the other network if you don't mind. Give me 1 second. But yeah, this is what we're talking about because somebody's got to be tired of BS, and I know it's a horrible feeling to even say that, but there's somebody that is literally tired of the BS that they're going through. They're tired of the confusion. They're tired of questioning their very sanity. They're tired of trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with this person that sleeps next to me every freaking night. Okay, that's the confusion. Okay. And here's the deal. You are indeed tired. You are not just feeling hurt. I swear to God, there's just so much to do when I do these lives. I have no clue. There's just always more and more to do when I do these lives. Hold on 1 second. I apologize, guys. I really do. As I try to get my life together, as I try to get this together. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. This is really what we're talking about. And somebody needs to hear this today because even though it's Easter weekend, there's somebody that needs to resurrect themselves to the person that they were before they met their narcissistic demon that they kept in their life for so long. Part of what I've been talking about on a consistent basis is how we make excuses for the narcissist. Okay. Who's ready to stop making excuses about the narcissist? The narcissist doesn't mean you any good. They're not here to help. They're not here to assist you in fixing this situationship that you find yourself in. And you're the one that's holding on to hope. You're the one that's trying to fix it, and you just can't get it right. Or maybe you have gotten free. You have broken free from their clutches, but now you feel sick to your stomach because you want to go back to this person. Everything inside of you is now screaming, hey, you know what? Let's go back. We're not doing anything this weekend. Let's go back. Let's see what they're doing. Let's see if they can really change. Let's see if they can be the person that we want them to be. That's your nervous system talking to you. And it hurts. It's something that it hits you deep down in your very soul because you know that you definitely don't want to go back. You know what they put you through. You know the states of confusion that you found yourself in every day. So now you're trying to figure out, how do I shake this feeling? How do I move forward with my life? Very important question. You just come out of a batshit crazy relationship and you need to figure out how you actually get back to living the life that you had, the life that you enjoyed before you met this person. This person who has spent every waking moment, not only theirs, but yours, trying. Thank you, Starlight, for repulsing this. Trying to destroy you, trying to break you, trying to invalidate you, trying to chip away at your confidence. Hey, you want out of this. You want out of this. And you know what? Many people, I knew when I first came out of my narcissistic relationship, I couldn't figure it out on my own. So what I had to do was, and this is like 100, 100, 100. I had to research, study, and I had to come up with a game plan because you know what? Deep down inside, I knew that I didn't miss them. What I really missed was the person I was before I met them. Who feels that way sometimes? And thank you all for joining. But who feels that way? You know, deep down inside, you know you're not missing them. You're trying to keep the attachment alive, thinking to yourself, well, if I fix them, if I bring them back, then I can reclaim myself. I can go back to who I am. The person that I remembered, the person that smiled, the person that had joy, that looked forward to each day. But now I find myself with this toxic individual in my life where sometimes I don't even want to open my eyes in the morning because I know there's going to be a bunch of BS throughout the day. I know there's going to be a bunch of chaos. You know, I'm trying to figure out, hey, are you going to act like I exist today, or are we going to continue on with the silent treatment? Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. And thank you, Starlight, for sticking around. You know, this is how your days start now. Once you realize that something is off, your day starts with you're already trying to figure out the day. What chaos is this person going to bring into my life? Am I going to have a peaceful day? Am I going to be able to concentrate without them getting in the way? Is this person going to act like we are in a relationship? Is this person going to act as if I don't exist? Is this person going to try to devalue me just because I'm breathing? See, when you are in a domestic, narcissistic, abusive relationship, this is how your day begins. This is how your day begins. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you because we've got to get down to the bottom of this. And I'm going to tell you something. If you still find yourself stuck, attached to this demon, this person that meant you no good, I had a mini stroke. Yeah, Big Ike, what's up? And thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for joining us. You know, this person that just wants to hurt me, why do I want to speak to this person? This person has affected my health. This person has basically affected my sanity. So why do I feel late at night? I've been out for a week. I've been out for a month. Why does my heart race when I get a text message notification on my phone? I hear that beep, and the first thing is that them? Have they understood that, hey, they hurt me and now they want to go back to that person? Stop waiting for that shit because it's not going to happen. You're trying to get over. Well, that's what we're talking about today, because I think I did everyone a disservice this week. I think in my need to break down narcissistic abuse to help people understand the patterns, to help people understand the trends, I think I did people a disservice. I didn't get to the point. See, people, you can go online and find out all the information that you want about NPD or narcissistic abuse. You can. But knowing is not getting the hell out. Knowing is not severing the attachment. Knowing is not making you feel better. Because you're not going to feel better until you reclaim your greatness, until you go back to the person that you was before you met this person, until you take out the scissors and just cut them off. Because as long as they stay attached, you leave a door open. This is scary when you think about it. As long as you stay attached, you essentially leave the door open for them to come back in and finish what they started. We all remember when you saw what they were, you remember how you felt. You felt as, oh my God, this is a freaking monster. I called mine a freaking demon. Thank you, Quentin 736. Thank you all for joining. I felt like, oh my God, this is like The Exorcist 15. This is literally a freaking demon next to me. Every day, every night, this is a demon whose main purpose is to destroy me. And that's a scary thought. That is the most horrifying thought, because this is the person that you've been saying for umpteen months, up to umpteen years, I love you. You love me. And then you find out that the love never really existed. But the mind is crazy. It can be hurtful sometimes. And its need to protect us, your mind can hurt you. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate you. Your mind can hurt you so freaking bad. okay? Because your nervous system got used to the anarchy. Your nervous system got used to the BS. Your nervous system got used to you waking up saying, oh my God, how is today going to turn out? Am I going to have a good day or am I going to have a bad day? While you're looking at this person, while you're sitting up there, you're trying to ask them for something simple like, could you pass the salt? And you're sitting up there and don't use too much sodium, but you're saying, can you pass the salt? But in the back of your mind, you're trying to pick your words so that it does not start more conflict. You're trying, you got your cup of coffee in front of you. Hey, babe, can you pass the sugar? You don't just come out and say that. You're sitting up there playing mind games with yourself saying, oh, how am I going to present this so it's not misconstrued? Hey, Adrian Davis, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. That has gone through this understands that it is fact. Now, here's the scary part. We don't want to admit it. We do not want to admit that this is how our days start. We go out the house, paint a smile on our face, and we want to tell somebody, we want to share that we're living in hell. We're living on hell on earth. We want to share it with somebody. We want to tell our best friend. We want to tell our family members. We want to tell our coworker. We want to tell somebody my life is a wreck right now and I can't figure out why. But we don't. Do you know why we don't do this? Because we still got hope. Why am I going to divulge my business? Why am I going to divulge the fact that my relationship is unstable? Because I can fix it. I can make this work again. I can bring them back to the person I met in the first few months or weeks. I can bring them back. And that's what destroys it. That is the trap. That right there is the trap. And you know what? Like I said, all week long, I think I've been holding people's hands. Because if you're going through this, if you're trying to figure this out, you know how much it hurts. I don't even need to say that. You know that you're in pain. You know that every time you look at this person, first thing that comes to mind is WTF. What the hell is going on with you? Then you start to verbalize it. Hey, boo-boo, what's happening here? What's happening to us? They know exactly what's happening because that was the plan all along. Nobody gave you the playbook, but that was the plan. The plan was to have you confused. The plan was to have you doubting your reality. The plan was to make you think that it was your fault. How many times did you take the charge for something that you never even started, that you never created, that you wasn't wrong about? How many times did you sit there and say, I'm going to take that charge? Because if I take that charge, even though I know deep down inside I did nothing wrong, if I take that charge, that might make things peaceful again. You might understand. Thank you, Adrian Davis. Thank you, Adrian Davis. Sorry about that. Yes, we take the charge. It's like sitting in the car with your buddy. The lights come on behind you. You know you got something. They know that they got something they're not supposed to have, and they just throw it in your lap. And you're like, what the hell? Why did you just do that? You just go ahead and take that charge. You go ahead. You're a good person. The judge and the courts, they're going to take you as a nice person. You can handle this. That's what the narcissist has been doing to you the whole freaking time. Every time, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Every time you get in a discussion with the narcissist and you clash, every relationship we have that you have one idea, they have another idea. Sometimes they clash. Sometimes you need to talk it out and there's nothing at all wrong with it. But with the narcissist, you're not going to talk it out. By the time that discussion is over, they are right, even though you know by everything under God's green earth they are wrong. You're going to say, okay. Thank you for the paper crane. I appreciate you, Quentin. Thank you. I appreciate you. You're going to sit up there and you're going to say, okay. You're right. Because deep down inside, you want to keep the peace. Because at the end of the day, you know what you're waiting for? During the intermittent reinforcement, you find that you're always punished. You're isolated. You're ignored. Nobody wants to talk to you. You know, they're acting as if you don't exist in that house. That's how they're acting towards you. And you're trying to get back to that other stage where they seem like they like you. Like, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you, Adrian. You know, you want to get back to that stage where they talk to you. You want to get back to that stage when they actually seemed interested in you. So, yeah, you're taking charges all over the place that are not yours. And you've taken them for so long that the prosecutor is just like, you're back again? Really? You're back here? You haven't learned your lesson? And that's the problem. Many of us are not learning our lesson. We need to let go of the ghost because literally that's what the narcissist is. They've sold you a bill of sale. Okay? You never agreed to it, but somehow your signature got put at the bottom of that sheet. And what they're doing is they are depending on your hope. They are depending on your good nature. They're depending on the fact that you actually freaking care. And they're going to utilize that. You know, you're looking basically at Bernie Madoff. You know, but they're using it against you. Their main goal has always been from the beginning to hurt you. Hey, Amy, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Their main goal has been to hurt you. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that there was something else involved. No, that's what when they want the minute you said hi, what's your name? You were screwed. Thank you for Quentin. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. You were screwed. That moment that you said hello, oh my God, you look nice. Oh my God, you're so handsome. Oh my God, you're so tall. When that started, they looked at you. They could smell an empath on you. You were done. You just didn't know it. I tell people this constantly. And if you've been in this or you're trying to get out of this, you will see the truth in it. When you started that relationship, there was an expiration date on it. When you stopped being useful, when you started setting boundaries, when you started telling them, hey, I'm not going to accept the disrespect anymore. That was the end of your relationship. Those were the factors, or, you know, sometimes they find a new supply. Okay, someone that's going to jump over hoops more than you will. So, yeah, your relationship was essentially over before it started, but only they knew the date. Only they knew the date because they wanted you to keep on trying. They wanted you to just go crazy trying to figure it out. They knew exactly what they were doing. Get in an argument with a narcissist, a disagreement, whatever the hell you want to call it. Okay? Get a disagreement. You will make the most valid point. You could have textbooks up to here. You could have video, depositions. You can have everything that will support what you're saying. The narcissist will act completely stupid. Okay? They will act like, and you're getting frustrated. You're like, come on, you're over the age of 3. You've got to understand this. You're on your phone pulling up stuff. You're like, you've got to understand this. They understand it, believe it or not. They really do understand it. Do you know why they act the way they do? Like they don't understand it? Because they're sitting back there watching you give an emotional reaction, watching you get upset, watching you get frustrated. Because what this does for them and their insane little minds, it makes them feel superior to you. Because look, I can control how you act. I can control how you feel by saying just a couple of words or saying nothing. Look at you, all bent out of shape. That's why I am better than you. That's why I'll always be better than you. And shit, give me a crowd? Oh, I'm just going to show people how unstable you are. You've got to want to get out of this. Every time you want to go back, sometimes it helps, but sometimes it doesn't help. You know how they treated you. You know what they did to you. You know how they made your life a living hell. Why do you feel this way? Why do you go to bed at night and you're like, I wonder what they're doing? Oh my God. I miss sleeping next to them. Oh my God, I miss their smell. No, that's you trying to actually trick your brain into thinking that the harm that they did to you, that the brutal punishment that they gave to you mentally didn't happen, but you know it happened. And that's why I'm here to talk about this course. And you know what? The directions to the course are actually in my bio. But if you put in break free, so how do you get over that? That's what I'm here to talk about, Agent Davis. First thing is you've got to stop making excuses for them. You have to. There's no other way around it. Because 90% of the time, whenever you start thinking about them and then you remember the batshit behavior, the next thing you do automatically is you make an excuse for them. You're not making an excuse for yourself, because I can almost guarantee that all you did was try to love them and fix the problem. You tried to love them into being a better person. I can guarantee that. You know, so yeah, that's why I created the 7-step video course to help people get through. You don't have to take it. You can do your own research. I created the course because I looked at it like this. This wasn't available to me. It wasn't. It wasn't. I had to, put on a thinking cap and do as much research as possible. I actually went to a library to get some stuff. I didn't do it all online. I had to learn what the hell was going on. And along the way, this is why I have free audiobooks. This is why I have all of this stuff available to people, is because along the way, I was like, I can't gatekeep. I can't keep this to myself. I can't. So yeah, there's audiobooks that's free. There's actually one audiobook, how to break the chains from narcissistic abuse. Okay, it's free. It's a free audiobook. People buy it off of Amazon, but I made it available for free so people would begin to understand the dynamic. Okay, so by listening to an hour audiobook, you saved yourself what spent me about 2 months to learn. Okay. So yeah, the course is basically how the hell I got through it. And I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. Again, I think myself to be a very intelligent person. I think of myself to be a very stable person. Yes, I did. And I got the short end of the stick. I got to get that. Yeah. I mean, we give ourselves, let's be honest here. And I'm not coming at you. I'm coming at everyone that goes through this. We constantly give ourselves the short end of the stick because we have hope in this person. Nobody sits down in front of somebody and says, you know what, I love you, and thinks that person, their main goal is to destroy you. Who does that? Who does that in a real committed relationship? No one. And that's what you did, not knowing that the other person was just secretly laughing at you. Like, oh, you're going to keep on trying. Hey, Stay Woke, thank you for joining. They're going to keep on laughing at you because you keep on trying. Throughout that relationship, in hindsight, you were the only one that tried. By the time the devaluation and disrespect hit levels that you never thought would ever happen, and I served in the Navy, okay, once you reach that point, you're like, oh, this person never cared about me. There is no one, hey, thanks for reading my service bio, but follow the instructions inside my bio because that's going to give you the 50% off for that course. I appreciate you for even taking time to look at my service bio, but that's going to actually save you 50% off of the course if you look at the directions in my bio. Okay. And I appreciate you again for even taking the time to look. But yeah, this is what, who has felt that way? That no matter how hard they try, it seems like it's never enough for this person. This person that tells you every once in a while that they love you, that they wouldn't do anything to you. They care about you. How does that feel when you figure out the crazy part? I was married to this woman, now it's over, and I'm left with this baggage. Can I be a little bit blunt about this? And I don't want you to take this the wrong way. You're not left with the baggage. It's because, and I don't know how long you was married to this woman, it's because you cared. It is because you care. That is essentially the only baggage that you're carrying. You cared. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. We get in interpersonal relationships to actually care, except for the narcissist. Okay, so you care, and you're probably confused. Why? Why did this happen? I tried. I did everything. Once again, you're blaming yourself. You're not looking at what this person did. 3 years. That's 3 years, and I'm going to guarantee that you feel that was 3 years wasted of your life during the off times that you're not blaming yourself. And I'm not coming at you. I'm being honest because I went through this. You know, I gave this chick an engagement ring. What chick loses an engagement ring and then tells me, oh no, I lost it? I have never heard of that and didn't know where they lost it at. So we ignore those red flags. Notice how we do that. Hey, Debbie, thank you for joining. We ignore those red flags, okay, because we care. And that is the thing that traps empaths into this circus shit show, because we care. It's almost like it's weaponized and used against us. You know, she told me, she said, wow, that was bold. That was bold. You know what? When you think about it, when you look at the levels of the disrespect that we endure from the narcissist, you know, that's when we begin to kick ourselves, you know, because honestly, we replay those conversations. We're not going to deny it. Let's be honest with each other. Hey, Mel, thank you for joining. You know, let's be honest with each other. You know, after we think that we're completely free, we begin this crazy batshit process of replaying conversations. We start reenacting them in our head. We start putting in phrases that we should have said. We start, you know, analyzing what they said to us. Instead of saying this was a disrespectful, devious, hurtful piece of shit. The same thing that we would do with just anybody else in the world. But you gave your all to this relationship. So now you've got a couple of things working against you while you're in the relationship. We all come to this point where we know something is wrong and we want to jet. We want to get the hell out of Dodge. But then we start saying, but I spent this much time with them. Think about it. Thank you, Deb, for the likes. I appreciate you. You know, we sit up there. No, seriously, think about it. Think about it. We look at this person and we say, you know what, I'm not going to throw in the towel just yet because what, I spent a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 15 years. I spent a lot of time with this person. Maybe I can salvage that. Because if you're like me, that was one of my main problems. The time investment. I was hitting 7 years when I figured out what the hell I was dealing with. I'm sitting there saying to myself like a big dummy, you know what, that's a long time. 7 years is a long time. The person that I met in the beginning can't be that far away. They can't be that far off. I can bring them back. And, you know, time is the one thing that we never get back. I can't recycle that time. I can't relive that time. That's all gone. So let me work on this. Let me try to fix this. Has anybody gone through that? Thank you, Quentin, for agreeing. You know, has anybody gone through that? You know you should get the hell out. Everything, hey Lionel, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. But you know. Yes, Adrian agrees. You know, the time becomes important, and you find that common sense is kicking you every day. That thing inside of you, that little secret voice, your inner voice is telling you, get the hell out of here. This person is up to no good. You need to go. Look how they disrespect you. Look how they treat you. Look how they treat everybody else, and then look how they treat you. You've got to go. But once again, it becomes the excuses. I spent this much time with them. Maybe it's my fault because, you know, the last time we got in that argument, maybe I should have been a little bit more patient with them. Even though they cursed you out. Maybe I should have been a little bit more patient. Maybe they need some space. You know, maybe we should, you know, take like a mini break, maybe a super mini break, you know, so they can get whatever's bothering them out of their system. You know, you can label your sentences if you want to. I'm not really. I describe myself the way I want to. No, and that's fine. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your input. And Maria, I'm going to get to that. Um, but yeah, I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to be rude. I say this often. I'm not saying it's anybody's case, but what I'm trying to tell people is this: these are the thoughts, not the exact thoughts. This is what went through my head. Okay, and it goes through. Maybe the verbiage is different, but it goes through many other people's minds. I say a lot of time on TikTok. I'm like now I'm in the middle between creator and knowledge gatherer. Um, I look at the different TikToks and I look at creators that are like in my niche, and some of them say that and I'm not coming at anybody what they do. They're saying I can get you out the trauma bond in 21 days, or I can get you out of the trauma bond in 15 days or in a month. You know, and as a nonconformist, I mean, this isn't for everybody. It isn't, And Maria, I want to get to what you're saying. You have to come to a plan. I've been told you depend on him for 17 years. It's hard. It is hard. You become dependent on this person psychologically, sometimes financially, and more important, emotionally, because the intermittent reinforcement is what keeps you locked. Many people act as if the narcissistic personality disorder is something that they don't know what they're doing. It's like those other mental disorders where they have no clue what they're doing. The narcissist knows moment by moment what they're doing. The narcissist has been practicing this for decades. Okay? This is how they survive. This is how they get through the world. Hey, DTRC, thank you for joining. This is how they get through the world, by destroying others, by controlling their emotions, by controlling the emotions of others. So yes, thank you for sharing the live, Maria. Thank you. I appreciate you. You know, so yeah, they need you dependent. And this is part of the reason why they devalue you. Once you come out of the initial love bombing stage, this is why the gaslighting and other things start to appear and they start to ramp up, is because they need you to lose your confidence in what you think, your confidence in what you do. Makes them easier to control you. Then they start working on your friend group. You'll start to notice that people that you've known like years before you knew the narcissist, now all of a sudden they got a problem with them. I used to always hear, you sure they your peoples? You sure they got your back? In hindsight, yeah, they actually had my back. You never had my back. This is the mind game, the mind screw that they play with their victims. So yeah, they need to make you dependent on them, but at the same time, you have to look at what you're dependent on. There's a lot of coaches talking about this topic. Well, there is, because it needs to be talked about more. There is. There should be more people talking about. There should be more people actually sharing their stories. This is how I found out what was going on. I'm doing like everybody else, just like killing time. I'm by myself. The narcissist is involved with me. I'm in the room by myself and I'm going through TikTok. And I came across this creator. I think his name is Weave Told Me. Okay. And I'm just like watching his videos and I'm like, oh my God, this is what I'm going through. Oh shit. They actually outlined exactly what I'm going through. And that's how you start to awaken, by listening to what somebody else went through, because it gives validity to what you're going through. Because hey Kay, thank you for joining. It gives it, hey Mom, thanks for coming back. It gives validity to what you're experiencing, because you're not even sure what the hell you're experiencing at most points. You're not. You're not sure. Because again, hope springs eternal. You think this person loves you and you can love them back to being normal. It's not going to happen. It does, because this is my first time dealing with a person like this. This is helping me big time. Well, Adrian, I'm glad I can be of assistance. But the way you just wrote that out is the way that I felt. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you, Marie. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And that's going to keep me doing this. This is going to keep me doing this. So yeah, I have to do this. Okay. You don't have to take part in it, but I do have 50% off. You just have to use the code break free. It's a self-driven course. I'm not going to promise you that you're going to get out in 21 days. I'm not. It didn't take me 21 days. And I think I should be able to go to any university and say, I went through this and I've been studying this. Please give me a freaking degree. I should be able to do that. That's how deep I've gone into this. So yeah, it's 7 video modules and it addresses the 7 most things, the 7 most important things that you need to not only understand but come to grips with. With the last thing being recapturing your greatness. If by the time you get to the 7th module and you understand, it starts with understanding what narcissistic abuse is. But by the time you get to module number 7, it's got exercises and everything. You're building yourself back up. You're getting back to, as I always say, back to the person you were the day before you met that narcissist. And that's when you look at it, when you put it in perspective, that actually becomes the most important goal in your life after coming out of narcissistic abuse. And there's no shame. There's really no shame. I get it. Sometimes you want to smack yourself because you're sitting up there saying, why do I miss them? I get it. It's a real thought. It's a real feeling. You're walking down the street and you see a couple swinging their hands back and forth, looking all happy. Thank you for the like them up. And they're looking all happy. And you're like, yeah, that's how I want my life to be, just like that. And then you think about that person. And you shouldn't be thinking about them because you know how they treated you. You already know this. Your brain even tries to jump in and says, they was a piece of shit, right? They had no good intent for you. So why are you thinking about them? But then you go back to thinking about them as you sit up there and stare at these 2 people swinging hands all happy. Because that's what you wanted. That's what you invested. Thank you for agreeing, Agent Davis. Thank you. That's what you signed up for. That's what you worked so hard for. So yeah, don't shame yourself. That's one of the modules. Stop freaking blaming yourself. It's like someone gave you $1,000 and then set you in a room with early days Bernie Madoff. And you just listen to Bernie Madoff and you gonna give him your money because he's spitting a good game. You're loving what Bernie has to say. So you give him $1,000. That $1,000 is lost. But you can't blame yourself because with the information that you had, you made the best choice that you thought would work for you. There's nothing wrong with loving another person. There isn't. Even if the other person doesn't love you back. I'm going to raise my hand. I got family members that I love that can't stand me. I've got people that I grew up with that I love that can't stand me. When I was in that relationship, word is bond. I loved that narcissist. I loved them. But that didn't mean that they were obligated to love me back. See, that's the juggling act we have to do with our brain and our nervous system. We have to start to understand those very concepts. The narcissist keeps you confused and they keep you on tilt because they never want you to understand those concepts. Because once you understand those concepts, what are you going to do? You're going to leave. You're going to do that thing that you wanted to do early on in the relationship. You're going to leave. Everybody has done it. I need you to go. Or I'm going, depending on what the living situation is. Everybody has done it. And then in hindsight, you're like, what the hell? Why didn't I kick them out? Or why didn't I go at that point? Do you know, and this is a stat that I brought up in the beginning of the week, do you know that people in abusive relationships, they try on an average of 7 times to leave? An average, this is a real stat. Look it up if you want to. Go open up another window of your computer and look it up. People that are in abusive relationships take an average of 7 tries before they actually leave. I have been in Zoom sessions. People have said, you know, I've gone back to them 3 times and literally I don't know why I'm thinking about going back. The narcissist, aka Bernie Madoff, has tricked you. We can all agree that Bernie Madoff was a pro at what he did. He was a pro of taking people's monies. He had senators taking their money. He had Fortune 500 CEOs taking their money. He had people that were in government taking their money. He was a pro at what he did. The narcissist is no different. You're talking about an entity that has to keep their mental stability together by hurting people, and this is the only way they can deal with their very existence. This is essentially their survival. Okay? If you put a frog and a grasshopper in the tank, the grasshopper is going to try to survive. It is. It's going to try to jump away. It's going to try to run away. It's going to throw its back legs up, try to kick the frog. It's going to try to get away. It's going to try to survive. The narcissist, in a strange way, they're just trying to survive. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right because you should never find yourself in a situation that you should have to survive due to hurting someone else. As my aunt would say, you shouldn't have to put your foot on the neck of another person just so that you can rise up taller. You shouldn't have to do that. The narcissist feels entitled to do that. And this is why I need to get people out of this because I actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you. As long as you're stuck in this trauma bond crap, you're not going to do anything freaking. And I'm being serious here. You're not going to be that person that you used to be that throws your life into a project or throws yourself into writing a book or throws yourself into whatever hobby or throws yourself into your job or tries to start a business. You'll never be that person as long as you stay attached to this person. Because every time you think of this person, you get conflicting ideas. Maybe this person did love me, this person hated me. So you're more concentrated. You're more for, hey, what's up, Ed? You're more focused on that than you are on doing the great things that you do. Okay? And everybody, again, the narcissist does not rob an empty freaking house. Okay? They picked you for a reason. They picked you because whether you realize it or not, you were shining super freaking bright. You as an empath were shining so freaking bright, they had to get in your life. They had to wear you. They had to wear that feelings of people gravitated to you. They had to wear that feeling of you get it done. They had to wear that. And that's the very, very thing that made them want to destroy you. So, yeah, you had to be. There is nobody that can tell me, oh, I was just a bum on the street. And, narcissist just came up and talked to me and ruined my life even forever. No. Hey, what's up, Charlotte? Thank you for joining. And Carlitos, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. The narcissist is never, even with the new supply, because we often think this too. Why are they with this person? This person doesn't hold a freaking candle to me. Well, if that person isn't an empath, them holding a candle to you, it doesn't even fit into the equation. The narcissist just needs a quick dose of admiration. They need a quick dose of feeling validated. They need someone to tell them that they're pretty or they're handsome. That's what that new supply does. Nothing more, nothing less. That new supply that you're saying to yourself, what the hell? This is what you left me for? Or this is what you destroyed our relationship for? For this? And in fact, I'm going to tell you something. You shouldn't even know who the new supply is because you need to stop following their social media and listening to the Flying Monkeys. You should actually stop caring about what the hell they're doing with their life because they didn't care about what they did to your life. Okay? So, yeah, the new supply, 90% of the time, they're just a holding space until they can find another empath. Let me tell you, hey, Cynthia, thank you for joining. Let me tell you something. The narcissist always will seek out an empath because the empath is the one that's going to keep on trying. And once they break the empath, they think that they've done something great. They feel superior because back to the front of the ranch, as long as you're thinking about this person, as long as you're thinking about the batshit behavior, as long as you're thinking about how they hurt you, you're not going to go back to being the great person you were before you met them. And that actually takes away from the world. Okay, I got a nonprofit right now. The Now movement is doing its thing. I'm trying to reach as many people as possible to help them because I no longer think they don't figure into what I'm doing. And for many survivors, that's part of the problem. You spent so long with the narcissist that you need their validation. You're asking for validation from a person that doesn't have their own life together, that doesn't have their own brain together, could never do the things that you actually do. They can't. This is why they compete with you and they fail. Okay, hey Kelly, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Who has been in a relationship with a narcissist, or now they know it's a narcissistic relationship, and they feel like they're in a secret competition? You feel like this is literally, Red Sox and Yankees. These are the things this is why the course was built. These are the things that people overlook. People, many people, and I'm not pointing fingers and I'm not trying to shame anyone. Many people get on my lives and they'll put up, how do I get out of this? You're saying all this, but how do I get out of this? Well, the easiest way, and this is a freebie, is start focusing on you. Start focusing on you. Start thinking about you. Start thinking about how important peace is for you. Your peace is valuable. The narcissists knew your freaking peace was so freaking valuable. They knew it. They knew it. That's why they tried to make every day as chaotic as possible. Because, see, if you had peace, you would put all the pieces together. So every day had to be another fire drill. Every day had to be some manufactured chaos. Every day had to be something to keep you off balance because they needed to drain you dry. They needed to take everything that they could take from you. They needed to take everything that they could take from you emotionally, physically, financially, your peace. They needed to take it because that made them feel better. You have been dealing with a person this whole time that their only goal is, let me frick with your nerves so that I can feel better about mine. You're dealing with a person that, even though they're always telling you and everybody else how much better they are than you, I always say this. Not only what did they bring to the table, but what the hell did they do? I don't care if it's a malignant, a grandiose narcissist or a malignant narcissist. What did they do? I can guarantee 99.9% of you, all the narcissists did was grab onto your coattails and ride the momentum that you were going with. And along the way, trying to break you so that they can take credit for what it was that you did. So that they can take credit. Let me say that again. The narcissist will never be anybody that will do anything for anybody else in the world but themselves. Okay, so what did they do in your relationship? What did the person that said that they loved you, what did they put on the table to help the relationship grow? Or was that all your effort? Was that all your struggle? Was that all of your losing sleep and becoming frustrated and can't concentrate at work and can't run your business and can't do anything because you're trying to fix a broken toy? Because that's essentially what they are. They are a freaking broken toy. And if you've gotten free, you realize that. But you're still making excuses for them. That's why people need this freaking course. That's why. You want the 50% off? Take it. The code is break free, all caps. Let me see if I can Write this in. I don't even know how to use this, but yeah. It's you have to decide at some point that you are important to the world because the world knows that you're important to the world. Believe it or not, the narcissist knows that you're important to the world. That's why they try so hard to break you. They'll never be important. Never. They're never going to be important. They're never going to do something that will give them recognition when somebody say, "Oh my God, that's a great job that you did. You helped so many people by doing this. If you didn't do this, if you didn't set up this foundation, if you didn't set up this non-for-profit, if you wasn't going out there feeding the homeless or raising money to get clothes, the narcissist isn't going to do that." At what point do you think a narcissist is going to do that? At what point? Well, at what point do you think the narcissist ever wakes up and says, "Let me do something for the world"? You're dealing with the most selfish demon in all of this reality because that's what they are. They're selfish. Even another demon will look at them and say, "Damn, you selfish. Damn, all you do is think about yourself. Damn, there's no saving you." Think about that for a second. And I ask that question again. If you've just gotten out of a narcissistic relationship, take your feelings of what you think their potential is out of the equation. Be honest. What did they do for you? Even the worst relationships that you have, you should walk away and say, at least I learned something. I learned something about myself. I learned something about people. I learned something about loving people. I learned something about loving another person. I learned something. What did you learn from the narcissist? You learned a couple of very important things. Not everybody is built like you. Not everybody cares like you. Not everybody can love like you. And there's actually MFers out there that will go out of their way to hurt you. That's the only thing you learn. You learn nothing of value. You don't walk away. I can go back to my high school relationships. I walked away with something. I walked away with something of value. The narcissist is never going to bring something of value into your life. Hey, Winifred Bella, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. They're never going to bring anything into your life. Why would you think that? You're talking about a person that has created their whole fractured identity by taking bits and pieces of the people that they have attempted to destroy, that they have attempted to manipulate, that they have attempted to hurt. And those pieces don't even all fit together. But they're like that Raggedy Ann doll, just a bunch of patchwork. It's not perfect, but it looks good. It looks good to the outside. That's what the narcissist is. That is what they are. And we give them hope. We give them a crazy amount of hope, and we think that we can fix them. Because just as an empath, you've been doing that shit all along. You've been helping people, fixing people, helping people get through shit, helping people figure out problems. Because you're an empath. And you know what? You overgive. You do. I'm going to be honest with you because I go through it. I overgive. No damn good and well. It's like, yo, I got my own freaking problems. But you know what? Come on. Let's see if we can figure a way out of this. That's what empaths do. And we do the thing that narcissists love. We over-explain everything because we need to make sure that you understand exactly where we're coming from. We need to be sure that you understand exactly. No ifs, ands, and buts. We want you to understand exactly because we feel this can help you as a person. So we over-explain every freaking thing. Narcissists, how many times did you over-explain shit to a narcissist? How many times did you get caught up in circle jerk conversations where you're explaining the common sense stuff? The actual common sense stuff that most human beings on this planet would definitely understand. They know what you're saying. Jump through hoops. Watching you over explain because it helps them regulate their nervous system. Because in the back of their rabbit ass mind, they're sitting there saying, Yeah, you know what? I'm definitely superior to you because look at you. You're going around in circles trying to explain this very simple concept. Let me act stupid again to see if you continue on this train. This is what they're doing to you. This is what they're doing to you. Guys, ask me some questions. Please ask me some questions. Because due to my experiences, due to my researches, I can answer this shit for you. I can set the stage for you getting the hell out of Dodge, saving yourself. Okay, I can help you if you've gotten out, trying to figure out how do you stabilize your very existence. Because right now, if you just got free, you're unstable as shit. I can't say it any better. There's probably somebody that gets out of a narcissistic relationship and they're back to normal in a day or two, but 99% of the time it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Even if you see through them, you see what they are. That horrifying moment, that was the most horrifying moment in my life. The person that I loved was intentionally trying to hurt me, was intentionally trying to keep me confused, was intentionally trying to make me feel less than what I really was. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Thank you, George Ward. Hey, George, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. So yeah, I get it. I get it. But how many times did you have to over explain? How many times did, like I said earlier, take that charge for something you didn't do? How many times? Hey, what's up, Emmy? Thank you for joining. How many times did you actually go through the whole shit show and just said, they'll be all right tomorrow? Hey, Sky Gem 1111. Thank you for joining. How many times? And like I said, you can ask me real questions. Real questions. If you're going through it, this is how you begin to break free. You gotta come to grips in your brain with what you're really going through. Because you are literally denying what you're going through. That's why you're still around. That's why you're still thinking about them. That's why you can't seem to shake them out your mind. You ever get like water caught in your ear and you're like, this, big, big, I tried to, couldn't. You can, right? You can. Who said that? Was it Eisenhower? I think it was Eisenhower. It was either Eisenhower or Ford. You know, if you think you can, you're probably right. If you think you can't, you're probably right. You know, it really does. You've had someone that's played with your mind. That's what intermittent reinforcement is. Okay, intermittent reinforcement is someone playing with your mind. Okay, they're giving you extreme highs, making you feel like you're on top of the world. You feel a little dizzy, giddy, happy, and you feel great. And then they just literally pull the rug up under you. Then they give you the silent treatment. Then they act like they hate you. Then they're devaluing. Then they're dismissive of you. And what happens is after a couple of times of this, you actually wait for the high. You wait for them to go back to that dopamine rush of acting like you exist, acting like they actually care. And again, they do this on purpose because this is how they get you hooked. And they're studying you, they're watching you. Chef LeBron, that's why I broke away and healed myself. Yes, and I'm glad that you was able to break away, and I'm glad that you were able to heal yourself. And I appreciate you sharing that, but I think I get on because there's some people out there that can't accept that. They can't accept that because they look at the narcissist like the narcissist is a real human being. They're not. It's a disorder. It's a mental disorder, and they don't want to cure it. They're not going to cure it, and they kind of like the way that they are. And some people can't understand that. They can't understand that. Why would the person that I love, and I tell them this often that I actually love them, why are they acting this way? Why would they treat me this way? Because you're not dealing with a normal person. You're dealing with someone that has something severely broken in their head. And they know it's broken. They just don't want to change it. Because it keeps the shame down. They don't have to deal with the shame that scarred them at an early age. So yeah, they actually believe there's something wrong with them. Well, they believe they want you to think that they want you to think that there's nothing wrong with them. It's all you, and they know what's wrong with them. They know that what they're doing is wrong. It's like one of the few disorders that actually hurts other people, where they actually know, they understand the concept that they're hurting someone. Thank you, Chef LeBron, for saying that. They actually are well aware of what they're doing. Again, look at Bernie Madoff. He knew what he was doing. It wasn't like he had another personality saying, "Hey, Bernie, take all these people's money. Guys, you can do it. You can do it." Or he becomes this other person that takes money. Bernie knew what the hell he was doing all the way up until the last day. But you know what? The narcissist knows what they're doing too. That's the thing. Hey, Quentin, thank you again for those likes. I appreciate you. That's the thing. They know. And they'll tell you that, oh, I don't know why you're overreacting. Oh, you're being too sensitive. Why are you acting this way? I talk to all my friends and, nobody goes through this. They want you to think they don't know what they're doing. And then you walk away and go, okay. No, they know exactly what they're doing. It just like Bernie knew what he was doing. Bernie didn't jump any steps. He took everybody's money the same freaking way. All he did was change a few words, and there was a different face in front of him. That's the same thing the narcissist does. They're Bernie. Different face in front of them. They tweak the script, and they do the same thing. And they know this. Do you think Bernie could have got an insanity plea? Hey, Mary, thank you for joining. Do you think Bernie could have got off on insanity as if he didn't know what he was doing? The return on investment for Bernie was he got a whole shitload of money. Okay. The return for the narcissist, they keep their shame down. The money is important to Bernie. The shame is important to the narcissist, keeping the shame down. Okay, so never be fooled into thinking that you're too sensitive for speaking about how this person is making you feel. They need you to think that you're too sensitive because it makes you stop focusing on what they're doing to you. It makes them stop focusing. Hey, Constantine Ben, what's up? What's up? Thanks for joining. So this is a perfect time for you guys to ask those real questions. If you're dealing with this and you're confused, I get the course. Again, directions to the course are in my bio. Use the word break free, all one word, for 50% off. But this is a good time for you to ask questions. It's not just about the course. I don't just do this about the course. Every once in a while, I have to remind myself to talk about the course. Okay? I run a nonprofit. It's got to survive. But at the same time, I actually want to help people. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. At the same time, I want to be of assistance. This was the reason why I started the nonprofit, was because, and it's recognized in Jersey. I'm just waiting for the Fed paperwork to come back. I got to a stage where I believed that I had lost everything. I believed that this person had taken everything from me, even down to my very identity, who I was. I truly believe that. Seriously, coming out of a relationship, I did a little planning my exit protocol. That's why I name a lot of stuff I do exit protocol. I planned my exit protocol. I learned very quickly, stop announcing what the hell you're going to do. Just do it. And I have to admit that after, I felt broken. And I'm not trying to shame myself. I felt that way. I felt that way because I kept on having the same thought about this person. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Lie. Maybe I can fix this person. Lie. Maybe I was literally being too sensitive. Lie. That's how I started to become unbroken. It really was. I had to admit to myself that I have been going through, I guess, the last 4 years of that relationship making excuses for this person. This person that they didn't deserve the excuses. Hold on 1 second. There you go. I had to do the puzzle. TikTok and their puzzles. Yeah, I had to realize that, no, this person is like, it's like my grandmother used to say to me all the time when I was little, not everybody has your best interest in mind. I had to accept this. No matter how I felt about this person never had my best interest in mind. You know, thank you. That's right, Chef LeBron. Thank you. And that's the beginning. That's the beginning because we hold on to this fantasy. In fact, that's module 3 in the course, fantasy versus reality. That's the fantasy that we hold on to. And we, believe it or not, as empaths, we hold on to it for dear life because we find it hard to come to grips that someone will put all of this effort and energy into harming us instead of loving us. Again, we go back to, thank you for the follow, Chef LeBron. We go back to, holding on to the ghost and thinking that this person is normal. In the end, you're like, God damn, they put a lot of effort into this whole deception and trying to hurt me. Wouldn't it have been easier for them just to try to love me? Well, maybe for a normal person, yes, it would have been easier. It would have been. But that's a normal person. Oh, thank you, Janana, Mom. Thank you so much. Janana Mana PNW. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the love you so much. And it becomes harder the more I had to literally wake up one morning and said F them. I think there's this creator, her name is Sinful. Great creator, go follow her. And she has this thing called F the Narcissist Friday, and she'll put up like a video or a text thing. And it basically says love means kindness and respect, and they can't give that since they are empty and they have no empathy. You are correct. You are correct. You couldn't have said it better. And Janana Mama PNW, thank you for putting that up there. So yeah, I was reading one of her posts. It was F the Narcissist Friday. And I read the post and it was funny. So I laughed because I had experienced it. And I just said to myself, you know what? F that narcissist. Thank you for the heart, man. I appreciate you. I said it. And, people actually have their own ways. Our mind, even though sometimes it goes overboard trying to protect us, that's what the trauma bond comes from. It's your mind and nervous system trying to protect you. Okay? But every once in a while, even though you're lost, even though you're confused, even though you think you can't find your way out, every once in a while it'll throw something your way. I like to think it's the universe, but it just throws something your way. And there are going to be signs. There are going to be signs. During that relationship, you're going to get signs that something's off. You just chose to ignore it. Be honest. You knew the shit was wrong. You knew what they were doing was wrong. You knew what they were saying was wrong. You ignored it though. Okay? Because you're sitting back there like a kid waiting for the pie to come out the oven because you're waiting for the next high. You're waiting for them to act like they like you. And you're saying to yourself, if I can just hold out just a little bit longer, I know they're going to come back around. And they come back around for 5 minutes and you say, okay, we're back. Mortimer, we're back in business. They care about me. Yeah. Yeah, and then guess what's going to happen next? Here comes another low. They're playing with you. As the kids say, they're playing with your emotions. They're playing with your emotions. And you're allowing it, but you're getting the signs, you're ignoring it. And sometimes we need that little trigger. Sometimes it's something they say to you and you're like, what the hell? Why would you even say that to me? That's your trigger. That's your message. For somebody, this live might be somebody's message. And Chef LeBron says, yep, that's true. Don't want to believe that they're that way. Yes. Again, you're able to love. Who would think that there's people that think like this? Honestly, if you, and this is what's frustrating, and this is why people don't talk to other people about it because A, you're unsure about it yourself. And sometimes you'll speak to one person and the most hateful thing, and they don't do it on purpose. The most hateful thing a person can say is, yo, you just need to get over it. They don't know what you mentally went through. They don't understand it. The only person that can possibly understand what it's like to go through narcissistic abuse is someone that's lived it. That's it. So this causes survivors to stay silent because they get that every once in a while. Man, what you thinking about them for? Come on, let's go out for a drink, man. Forget about them. Just get them off your mind. No, it's not that freaking easy. It's not that easy. I made a correlation last week to your first relationship in junior high school or high school. That took a long time to get over, right? It didn't. You wasn't even dealing with a narcissist. You was dealing with another team. It took you a long time to get over that. The narcissist, you that person in your teenage years might have actually cared about you. They probably didn't understand. You're teenage, you don't understand true emotions and true feelings, but that person probably cared a little bit about you. The narcissist never cared about you, and that's what hurts the most. Hey, Ann, thank you for joining. Thank you. I think that's the biggest that's the biggest betrayal that we feel. It's like, I love this person. You know, they're only looking for their positive gain. It's really, you know what? Hey, Drew, what's up? Chef LeBron, it's really not even a positive gain. It's like my aunt. She worked for probation. And her biggest thing was she hated people that, in her office that, would step on somebody else's neck to make themselves feel important. So you're going to hurt another person. You're going to throw another person under the bus to make yourself feel bigger than life. Essentially, that's what the narcissist does. But again, it's survival for them. It's not some inter-office drama. It's not. This is how they need that shattered, fractured identity they have. It's the only way they can keep it together. There's no other way. They will go into a huge. I think Carl Jung said that it almost can put them in a state of becoming comatose. You give a narcissist a large enough injury, and they usually give it to themselves due to their feelings of superiority, entitlement, and lack of empathy. They give it to themselves, and also thinking everybody's against them. But they can go into almost a comatose state. That's how fractured their identity is. This is why near the end, when they feel like they're losing control, they rage out. Hey, Letty Austin, thank you for joining, and Drew, thank you for joining. This is what we have to come to realize. This is how they respond when you start seeing who they are, and you start taking back even a little minute amount of who you are back. They see it, they feel it, and then they rage out. They rage out. Thank you, Janana Mama. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They rage out because they can't understand. You have to remember, a narcissist, they have this whole grandiose thing about them. They think that they are the cat's meow. They give themselves the option of being the victim. Well, those are only two options they have. They can only be the victim or the hero. There's no in between. That's another misconception that people have about narcissists. There's no gray line. There's no gray line. There's a lot of people that say that. Thank you, Nan. A lot of people think, well, the narcissist. Let's say you have kids with a narcissist. Okay, and I'm just putting this out there. You have kids with a narcissist. Okay, you would think that, again, you think you're dealing with a normal human being. Well, they can't stand my guts because I found out they're narcissists, but they'll take care of the kids. They'll love the kids. Why do you think the kids are different? The kids are just something that either serves a use or it doesn't serve a use. Never, ever forget that. There's no gray line. There's no, oh, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to do this. And Dr. Karen Stewart says people often think forgiveness means to restore the narcissist to your life. That is huge. Thank you for bringing that up, Dr. Karen Stewart. Thank you for bringing that up. You can forgive them so that you can heal. Never. Let me say this clearly so everybody understands this. If this person treated you like shit the first go around, and I hate to curse, yes, I am an ordained minister, but this brings a lot of emotion. If this person treated you like shit the first time around, if you forgive them and bring them back into your life, what makes you think it's going to change? It's actually literally going to get worse. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Again, you're not dealing with a normal human being. You're dealing with someone that has a disorder. Okay? If you take the narcissist back, automatically their arrogance and superiority jump up. And they say, I was right to treat you the way that I treated you. You deserve it. And the fact that you're letting me back into your life, you are proving that I did the right thing. So now it's going to get worse. Think I'm lying? I talk to people that go back. I do. Go into somebody else's live or their chat or do something else and ask them. You're right, Chef LeBron. It won't change. You think it will change because you are stuck on this 4-letter word, and it's not love. It's hope. I was a fool to go back. Hey, don't call yourself a fool. Give yourself grace. Again, if I gave you $1,000 and told you to talk to my boy Bernie Madoff, you would probably walk out without that $1,000. These are professional con artists. And the difference is money comes and goes. Their very survival depends on them conning you. To give up your emotions, to be triggered, to make you lose your identity. Somebody help me out here. What do you feel? Let's be honest here. Let's be honest together. What did you lose in that relationship? What do you think? And we could spend the whole day talking about what we lost in that relationship. But there's one very important thing that we lost. And I'm not going to say there's wrong answers or right answers. What did you lose in that narcissistic dynamic? What do you think happened to you? Where did you take the L at for you having hope and trying to love someone? Chef LeBron says, yes, and you're right, we lose ourselves. And Chef LeBron says, I lost everything, including my own self-respect. Yes, you're right, Chef LeBron. At Adrian Davis, you're right, myself. See, there's no wrong answer. You took an L. You took an L in that relationship. Lynette, you are right. You lost peace. See, we can spend the whole day doing this. We all lost something that we valued, something that we felt important. And that was the narcissist's goal from the beginning. Again, because it makes them feel important. And they're paranoid as hell. They are. Because the narcissist feels that everybody is envious of them and they need to stay envious of everybody else. Carlitos, yes, you're mine. Correct answer. Look at the layers, look at the levels of what we're losing by holding on to hope. Because you feel that you're losing your peace. You feel like you're losing your self-respect. You feel like you're losing your identity. You feel like you're losing all of this stuff, but you sit up there and you say, I think maybe if I address it this way, I'm thinking I can fix them. Let's be honest here. Thank you, Lynette Jim, for following me. I appreciate you. Emmanuel Flores, thank you. 89, thank you for joining. But yeah, think about that for a second. Look at we gave. Let me say this again. We gave so much of ourselves. We gave so much of ourselves, not based on our potential, somebody else's imagined potential. Doesn't that hurt? We betted on somebody else's potential. Hey, Manuel, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. And VOJ, I'm sorry. Yes, Chef LeBron, you're right. This is what we did. And this is why it's so important. This is why I get on usually Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Okay, that's my usual time. Every once in a while, Saturday, I get on. But like I said in the beginning, I felt I did a disservice because most of my lives, I think I was holding people's hands. It's not going to get you out. Someone being nice, gentle, and kind to help you get out of trauma bond isn't going, hey, Manuel, thank you for following me. Being nice and patient and kind with someone that's dealing with a trauma bond isn't going to get them out. People need to be slapped in the face because they are giving so much hope and potential. They're falling back on their capability to love another person. And sometimes you've got to, somebody's got to just tell you the honest truth. Sometimes people have to tell you, well, you're kind of still stuck because you still got hope in this person. Hey, what's up, Derek? Thank you for joining. You're still hoping that this person can change? You're believing the future faking? Oh, because we all get those arguments where they can tell that you're fed up. You're done. You're getting out of there. And then all of a sudden they come back 5 minutes later and say, I just wanted to say, that maybe things should change, and, maybe I need to work on myself a little bit, and I understand that. And then 2 minutes later, it spirals, it snowballs into it's your fault, because I'm saying, yeah, I was wrong, but you were even more wrong by saying this and saying that. It's like, come on. Who's ever gotten a real apology from a narcissist? This should be fun. Help me out here. Who's gotten a real, Chef LeBron? This is what they do. So please tell me, has anybody gotten a real apology from a narcissist? This is the batshit behavior that we deal with day in and day out when we're in a narcissistic relationship. Anybody? Raise your hand. Chef LeBron says never. And what I mean by Adrian says hell no. Carlito says never. Because what happens? Yeah, no. Yeah, I knew that's what you meant. But yeah, that's what happens. It starts with this lackluster, I think I should say something. And then, hey, what's up, Kimmy? And then for some strange reason, it kind of snowballs into your fault. It was something you did. If you wouldn't have said this, if you wouldn't have said that, if you wouldn't have looked up at the ceiling when they were talking, if you would have acted like you were paying attention to them. Really? Really? Yes, Chef LeBron and Mayo, yes, I don't know if she meant it. Well, if as human beings, if you're over the age of, I'm going to just put a number out there, 25, I think and I'm not coming at you, but I think we understand what a real apology feels like. Okay, because we can see that person reflects. Come to the world, everyone here, Jesus Christ is coming back very soon. Well, thank you for sharing that, Mary. But yeah, 48. I'm not understanding. Oh, 48. You're 48. So yeah, we understand what a real apology looks like. We understand this person has reflected. This person has, I'm sorry, you feel, oh, my favorite. I love that. And we understand that the person has reflected. The person has taken into account our feelings. Okay, especially when we're talking about a romantic relationship. You can look at them and tell that they're sorry. They don't have the narcissistic smirk on their face. They're not studying you to see if you're buying into it. They really feel sorry. You have to, again, this is us holding on to hope. There's no other way I can put it. This is us holding on to hope. If it wasn't hope that kept you there that long, what kept you there that long once you started to realize that something was off? Let's kind of be honest here with each other. Because I know for me, I knew that I could fix it. You couldn't tell me shit. I could fix this. I could fix this. I was going to bring this person back to the person that I met. Okay, so yeah, I stayed longer. Should have. Okay, I'm going to say 6 years. Springs eternal. So hey, Rainsy, thank you for joining. Lagos, thank you for joining. So at what point do you feel that you stayed longer than you should have because you believed in hope? Let's be honest here. And I need you to be honest, because you can say, no, I just stayed because I had to pay the water bill and this, that, and the other. I was with a female for 10 years. I finally figured it out and I left. I thought that I stayed too long. Well, what made you think that you stayed too long? I think that's the question. And thank you for sharing that. I think many of us, again, I talked about that earlier. I don't think you was here. We talked about that, the time investment. Sometimes that's the reason why we stay. It's the time invested actually leveraged with the hope, So yeah, and Lagos, thank you for joining. Or Lagos, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. We actually, this is why we say, Chef Barnes, sometimes we stay because we feel, because if we can fix that person, yes, that's hope. But nobody can be fixed if they don't want to. They don't, and that's what makes it hurt so much. Adrian, I seen the good in her that no one else saw. Yeah, that's how we feel. And I wasn't there for your relationship, but I'm going to just venture this out there. The person you met in the beginning wasn't real at all. I'm being honest with you. I had to come to grips with that myself. Again, that's module 3, fantasy versus reality. I had to come to grips. None of what this person said to me was real. Everything I read said they can't be cured. They can't be, Manuel. And the reason why is, I think a lot of people think when they see that term, and there's a few creators, like I like Lee Hammond. Okay, I really do. I like Batwolf too. These are what they call self-aware narcissists. Okay, I always tell people you need to break down that word. Okay, that phrase, self-aware narcissist. Lee Hammond and Batwolf will actually tell you that they are narcissists. They just understand their disorder. Okay, there's no magic pill. There is no amount of therapy that will take that disorder from them. Yet they can curb back what they do because now they're aware of the mechanism. Okay, Doc, thank you for sharing it. So it's they understand the mechanism that makes them act the way that they do. That's it. It didn't go away. Just by them using that term, I am a self-aware narcissist. Now there's a lot of great info. I've gotten a lot of great information, especially when I was coming out of fog. I think I saw his stuff on FB first before on TikTok. But yeah, he gives a lot of great information as far as how their mind thinks. Answer that say 20 years too long, and my kids suffer from it. That's the sad part because, and I'm not saying because of you. If it was 20 years in a day, you got out a day or in enough time. Sometimes the more of an empath you are, you'll find the longer you will stay. And that's just a trade-off. Your ability to love and care about the world, it shouldn't be used as a strike against you, but when you deal with a narcissist, it is. It is. And Carlito says they don't easily go away either. Why would you go away? As far as they're concerned, you're their pet. That's why they hoover. That's why they come back. That's why they bug the shit out of you just when you think you're healing. You're their pet. In their mind, they own you. So if they circle back around, if they circle the block within a week, they're entitled to do it. Within a month, they're entitled to do it. 5 years from now, they're entitled to do it. And they're not doing it for the reason Yo, June 30th, Cancer and Impact. Okay, cool, cool. Thank you, LeBron. You know, and here's the deal. You know, like I said, hold on one second. The reason why they hoover back is because they think there's a couple of things that, like criterion number 10, basically they think that they're above everybody. They just put themselves in God mode. And they feel that they can treat you any way that they want to get the desired results, which is your reactions and your supply. I think I talk about that in one of the courses, how to detach. That one of the courses is actually addresses the Hoover. And one of the exercises is you have to make a sheet, that basically has like debits and assets of, the relationship on the whole to help ensure that you don't get trapped up in the Hoover. That's why a lot of people come back. The Hoover is basically a super intense, love bombing. They're trying to trick you into thinking that no matter what you thought, they really did care. Um, mine Mine figured out she couldn't control me anymore. Yeah, I know she raged out, bro. I know she raged out. Carlito said, thank you, man, for sharing that. Carlito says, I'm 2 years not free thanks to my daughter. I love that you said that, Carlito. I love that you said that. One of the things when you're struggling through the trauma, I'm going to tell you something. It's like any other addiction. Sometimes you've got to put a goal in front of you that is going to make you want to hold on to getting free. Your daughter. I have little ones. I have grown boys and I have little ones. My daughters. My daughters are what's important to me. So, yeah, I'm not going to be dragged into conflict. It's never going to happen. It's not. Because I can't let them think that I'm unstable. Because I know she talks about me. I can't let them think that. I always just have to be present for them. That's all I care about. I need to be present for them. I need to make sure that they grow up and at least one side of their parentage being emotionally stable. Okay. Again, I go back to the front of the ranch. People, no matter what the flavor, no matter what the age, are just constructs. They are just constructs. What purpose do you serve? The narcissist feels the same way about their children. What purpose do you serve to me? And if you don't serve a purpose, I'm going to act like you don't exist. This is how narcissists think. And you don't believe me. Don't believe me. Go to your local university, go find a psych department, and just ask somebody to give you a minute of their time, and you ask them. This is part of their disorder. There are no gray lines. There are no, oh, I hate your father, but you're my children, so I'm going to love you to death. No. Why would you think that? Or, you know what? I hate your mother, but you know what? I'm going to show you all the love and caring in the world. It doesn't happen like that with the narcissist. It automatically deflects to what purpose do you serve? They will pit their kids against each other just so that they can sit back and feel like they're in control. I'm serious. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go look it up on your own. They will triangulate their own children against each other. And you know. That's why people need to get out of this. This is why people need to understand this. Yeah, understanding what it is the first step. But if you, Kevin, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. This is what it is. Understanding this is great. It's cool. Go study Carl Jung, Kabliski. There's like a ton of research papers out on this. Go study it. Go study it. But if every night you have that empty feeling in the pit of your stomach, if you walk someone that wears the same cologne or perfume that they used to wear and you get that empty feeling in the pit of your stomach, if you go someplace that you used to go to together and you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, yeah, you need to get help in breaking free from that. the knowledge alone isn't going to help you because your nervous system really doesn't care about knowledge. And it says they picked the golden child to groom them to be like them. Yes, they do. And the scary thing that I always think about is this is a breeding ground to create another narcissist. Depending on how young the child is, this is essentially a breeding ground. You know. So yeah, having a goal like that is great. Your children, family member, maybe something you said you was going to do years ago and you gave it up because you got caught up in this dynamic. Going back to doing that, promising that you're going to do that. I used to have this thing. I've been writing books since like 2008. The first time it was just like a bucket list thing. I wanted to get something off of my bucket list. I wanted to write a book. And I stopped. I was in a narcissistic relationship then. I didn't know what it was, but looking back now, I understand. Um, yeah. So, and Apple Peach Logos, thank you for joining. Um, yeah. So I'm writing books, and I stopped because this person taught me to stop it. And this person would not assist me, and they made it very clear. And I hear things like every other day, like, what makes you never written a book before? What makes you an author? People write books every day. You're saying that you can write a book too. So I would just, let it run over my head. But they taught me how to doing it for a little while. I just downloaded the book one day and kept it on a thumb drive. And it actually sat on my desk for like, I'm going to say about 3 to 4 months, maybe even 6 months it sat there. And I was cleaning off my desk and I found it. It was like hitting the keyboard and I plugged it in. And I was like, oh shit, this is my book. And I just started writing it. I don't work at this job anymore, so I can talk about this. I went to work and I basically just wrote my book at work. I plugged it into the USB slot and just did it. Somebody came around, I just switched the screen. So I got the book done. And again, dealing with narcissists. So it became arguments because I said, can you just do me a favor and proofread it? And that was always a problem. They just never did it. And then I found a way to get it published. And that, I'll never forget the day I was going through the car wash with them. They were sitting next to me and they was like, why would you do something so hurtful like getting that book published? Narcissists will always tell you how they really feel. And I actually turned around and I was like, what are you talking about? I wrote the book. How am I being hurtful to anybody? Well, it was called the Ghetto Survival Guide for Blacks and Latinos. So what if you get up on Oprah? I'm sitting there looking at this person like they're crazy. I was like, if Oprah called me on, I'm there. Well, how do you think that it's going to affect our family? So it actually came to the point. I think that they actually what they did. They took a swing at me while we were going through the car wash. That's how upset they were. That was the rage out. Okay, I was doing something that they couldn't do. Okay, and I was taking joy in it, and it pissed them off. The relationship crumbled. I think like 6 months after that. Every once in a while, it was a year after that. Every once in a while, I actually just say it was the book that did it. But yeah, when I got back into it, I started writing different books. A couple of them were crap, a couple of them were really good. But I was writing Have a Stellar Life, Positive Thoughts for an Effed Up World. And that book was kind of important to me. And I started it like in July. And for some strange reason, I was just dragging butt. I was dragging ass on it. So what I did was I made myself a promise. This is back in July. I said, you know what? I'm not going to have a drink. I'm not going to have anything. I'm not going to have any beer, wine, liquor, nothing. I'm not going to have a drink. If I go someplace where there's like a full staff bar, I'm not going to drink until I finish this book. And I held to it. And believe it or not, I got the book done New Year's Eve of 2012. So the book was launched January 1st of 2013. And I had the biggest, because I would buy the stuff and just keep it in the fridge or keep it in the freezer or keep it on the shelf, but I would not open it. I think I was tore down for like 3 days, because I had a lot of catching up to do and I felt really, really good, But yeah, I mean, we have to give ourselves goals to get out of this. We have to give ourselves a reason, we gave ourselves a reason to stay. And now we find out that that reason really didn't matter because we wasn't fixing them. And they weren't coming back to the person that we imagined that they were. They're not coming back to that. So yeah, well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's just shit. I was double fisted. I was like, but yeah, I mean, you gave so much of yourself to this person, through the years. You got to start returning that energy to yourself. You have to, at some point, you have to decide that you need to return that energy back to you. And the sad thing is about it is setting a goal definitely works. If you say to yourself, "Listen, I'm going to stop thinking about this person, or I'm going to walk to work every day, or I'm going to do 100 push-ups every time I think about this person." Yeah, that's right, Carlitos. Yes, indeed. If you give yourself a goal like that, it kind of does something psychological because if you pick 100 push-ups, it's going to hurt. And your brain is going to get the message and be like, "Hey, listen, we got to stop thinking about this person." Um, but yeah, setting a goal and feeding into yourself based on the fact that you are important and you're not to blame. You just have to figure out a way through this. Yeah, I can offer you free audiobooks. I can offer you courses. I can do all of that stuff. I really can. By the way, the course directions to the course are in my bio, and 50% off is break free, all one word. But yeah, I can offer all of that to you, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather you just heal. I do. I do. No matter what trick works for you, I just want you to heal because that way the world can heal. Every time an empath gets sat down on the sidelines, everything positive that's going to happen in this world slows down. And I know it sounds batshit crazy the way I'm breaking it down, but it's true. Empaths are actually what helps fix the world. It helps fix the broken pieces of this world. And it's like, Jordan in his heyday, he's sitting down on the bench and everybody's in the audience like, what the hell? What the hell? Why is he out there playing? That's how I feel about empaths that are still dealing with the aftermath of narcissistic abuse. And you feel a lot better. You do. You feel a lot better when you realize, when you accept to yourself this person was a piece of crap. When you say, and that's the hard part. Especially if you got kids, especially if you're married to them, all that stuff makes it hard. It makes it hard. But as far as you healing, as far as you getting back into the game, and I'm not talking about dating because that's going to take time too. It is. It is. A person that you gave all your love to hurt you. So yeah, you're not going to jump back into the dating game. You're not the narcissist. What did you say, Carlitos? She said to me one day, "Why are you still talking?" I responded, "Why are you still here?" Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that kind of sums it up. That really sums it up. That sounds like some really huge narcissistic disrespect. They're going to do things like this to you. And you're the one, by you holding on to hope, by you holding on to love, the only person that's getting hurt is you. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. I don't care for dating. Yeah, you know what? I feel the same way. I really do. Encounters. But even those took time to actually, and consensual. I'm not trying to trick anybody. I'm not trying to, make somebody think that I love them. I tell people clearly, I'm like, I'm not really ready to get into something serious. I went through something before, and I don't want to carry that luggage into your life or carry my dirty shoes into your life. And I think that's fair, and Carlos is saying, yeah, so yeah, I tend to understand it. It's going to be hard to trust. Only the narcissist can leave a long-term relationship and be literally in bed with somebody else in a couple of days. You know, that shows the level of caring that they had for you. If you don't, if there's nothing else you can understand that this person really never cared about you, it's that. I don't care how bitter the relationship became at the end. There's no reason for that. There's, and I'm not trying to say that they're a bad person for doing it. Again, we go back to, we're not dealing with a normal person. We're dealing with someone with a disorder. But the flying monkeys and everybody else, they see the same thing that you see, but they're not going to say anything. They're not going to say, well, gee, damn, you just left him or her. You bringing somebody else over here? How did that happen? So yeah, you've got to give grace to yourself. You've got to. I think I wanted to do this because this is Easter Sunday, and I hope I'm not saying anything against anybody else's belief or religion. Church Real Talk is like a firm believer in whatever keeps you positive, whatever keeps you a good person. I love it, and I love you for it. But we're coming. Tomorrow's Easter. And I tend to think of the message of Easter of coming back to greatness. Well, when I look at the whole story about, the resurrection, coming back to greatness, actually living within your purpose and taking it to the next level. I think about the narcissist is out there broken, that's actually trying to figure it all out. That's actually trying to find a way to make this easier. I wish that I could tell you that my course will make this easier and you won't have those empty feelings in your stomach. And I want to tell you that it's going to be a walk in the park, but I would be lying to you. It's not. You're going to get the same amount of energy from this course as you put into it. I'm not going to say it's going to be a cure-all. I'm not going to say that within a week you're going to be through this because it's 7 steps. Do a step a day and you're cured. I can't say that. I don't want to say that. But if you're serious about reclaiming your greatness, if you're serious about resurrecting the identity that you lost when you got in this relationship, if you're serious about that, if you're serious about claiming your mantle, yeah, it will happen. It will happen. And you can't put a time period on it because the narcissists, they didn't break you in a day. So you can't think that you're going to heal in a day. They didn't manipulate you over the course of a week. So you're probably not going to actually get all your clarity back in a week. But if you put your mind to it, use that thing, I think that was Carlito said, use a goal, then yeah, you're going to get through this. And wouldn't you rather get through it if it takes a month, if it takes a year to be able to say, I got through this? Isn't that better than saying, I'm not going to do this and I'm never going to get through this? I can't make this happen. What side of the fence do you want to be on? Because like Ford or Roosevelt, I can't remember who, like they said, if you think you can break free from the trauma bond, or if you think that you can't, you're right. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. If you guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I want to thank you guys. I'm supposed to stay on here a little bit longer. I don't know. Maybe I'll stay on a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, this is, yeah, I think it's true. And don't get me wrong, guys. Thank you, Chef LeBron. I know that it's true because I had to come to that crossroad. I had to decide, was I going to stay broken? And who that I could and did, and I did. That's right. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's the law of attraction, brother. Yes, it is. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a firm believer in the universe, how everything has to come up in order and there's no chaos in the universe. I used to think that this was done to me on purpose because like I said, I've been in 3Ds. I just didn't know what they were, the first two. And I think I was transitioned into this one because I didn't pick up on the first two. Thereby, I wasn't doing stuff like this. So I kind of think the universe is like, okay, you didn't understand what we need you to do this week. So we're just going to reintroduce you to another piece of shit to help you figure out what you're supposed to be doing. But yeah, there was a time period when I first started on this journey of helping other empaths that I thought, well, maybe that's why I went through this. It can't, Lynette. Thank you, Lynette Jen. It can be done. I chose what was most important. I chose me and completely detached from him. Lynette Jen, that is right. You're completely right. You have to decide that you're going to give up the hope and the potential, because the hope and potential, the love, hope, and potential lives in you. Nobody else. Nobody else. The love, hope, and potential is a burden that you are carrying. Thank you, Mel, for following me. I appreciate you. It's a burden that you're carrying. It's not them. They're, they're not carrying anything. You're carrying the love, hope, and potential. So once you realize that, just like she said, once you realize that, hey, this is me. This is me. I'm going to resurrect the person that got left behind. I'm going to hold on to and grab the mantle of my greatness. And along the way, I'm going to show others that they can get free too. Kind of works for me. I made it up along the way, but it works. It works because every person that shares their story, every person that talks to people that's trying to understand what's going on in their life, you're helping them. You're helping them. I think I have to give Clarity Over Chaos. I got to send her a Christmas card. We've told me, got to send them a Christmas card. These are all people that I'm thankful for that they took the time. You got to remember, when you look at these social platforms, my son, okay, my son, Miko, the classic coach, to join as a guest. If you want to, just let me know. My son, he's a gamer. He's always been a gamer. Okay. And I used to get on him when he was younger. They both got their college degrees. One has a master's. They both have great jobs. They're doing pretty good. I'm proud as a father. I really am. But he's into gaming. So I support him whenever I can. But, he goes to these gaming conventions. They know him by name. He's got all of these, photo ops with these, the people that create the games. He was telling me that one of the game developing companies want to fly him out there. He gets demos. He's doing great, But he's got a YouTube channel, and I swear to God, that boy, he can put up a video within an hour. He's got like 10,000 views. And I'm like, how do you do that? So I had to come to grips, like, this is not going to be, one of those things where I'm going to blow up. But that was never the goal. If I reach one person at the end of the day, I feel better. I do. I go and I hit the sack and I feel good about myself. When people, send me messages after my lives and says thank you and stuff like that, that makes me feel good because that's what I set out to do. Now, I'm a gamer too. I could do that, but is that really living in my purpose? How do you convert gaming into a non-for-profit? I don't know. So yeah, I'm so proud of him. I love what he does. But, it's like dealing with the narcissist. You have to put things into perspective. Gaming is big. This is the society we live in. This is what kids and young adults do, and even old adults like myself. This is what the people want to see. They want to learn how to beat the game, And then there's the other group that's just trying to figure out what the hell happened to their life. I want to be there for the latter. There's nothing wrong with the, I'm watching. Thank you for joining. There's nothing against people that get into gaming content. And I think my son is doing a great job with what he does. But at the end of the day, I want to help somebody, not beat the next level, but beat the narcissist and get their life back. That's what I really want to do. And if he's watching this, he's probably saying, see, Dad, you ain't going to win doing that. But I think I am. I really think that I am. Yeah, so that's why when I write books, I convert them like super fast into audio books and make them available for free. I keep the damn site. The site. Sometimes I'm going to be honest. I do a lot. I do a lot. Building a non-for-profit, because you got to put all your ducks in a row because they actually look at the paperwork. For when you get that nonprofit status to get you to make sure you're doing the right thing. So yeah, I try to hit the community. I got a newsletter that's for my community in Camden. I'm thinking about once I grow actually doing a newsletter and thank you, Chef LeBron. Doing a newsletter for this, a digital newsletter for this, for narcissistic awareness, narcissistic abuse. It keeps me going. It makes the time that excuse for them. It makes it make sense to me. If that makes sense, because now I've been put in a position. The pain made me study this. The pain made me understand this. The pain made me want to heal. The pain made me want to find ways to heal. So now I have a purpose. I transform. Thank you very much, Chef LeBron. Thank you so much. So, Agent Davis, God bless you, brother. You are helping a lot of people, including me. You deserve your flowers. Thank you so much, Agent Davis. When it grows, I want to get more people. Every once in a while, I try to build the family up, but I want to do more and more and more. I have to tell myself, like, you don't have enough hours in the day to add that on. I just did something for my daughters and their priority in my life. So yeah, everything had to be put on pause. But if you're helping another person, I think that's what we're all put here for. And this is why empaths get trapped up in this shit, because we're literally trying to help somebody else. At the end of the day, we're allowing ourselves to be destroyed because we're trying to help someone else. We're trying to fix someone else. We're trying to love someone else harder. We're trying to make someone understand what real love looks like. So I don't know. I don't know. Every once in a while I think about that. I know it's TMI for you guys, but every once in a while I think about that. I think about, you know, maybe that's why I had to go through this 3 times. Because the first 2 times took me a while to get my life back together. But I always say narcissists come in a lot of flavors. Some of them are truly Bernie Madoff, and some of them are just the guy that plays the shell game on the corner. You know, the last one was a Bernie. The last one was definitely a Bernie. Because it was very, very true. um, yeah, so that made me stop, look around, and regrettably, it made me want to love that person harder. And I say that knowing that there's a flying monkey watching this, or probably even them through a fake account. I get it, and plus it's being streamed on multiple platforms, so I know that they're looking. But I think that I've made it clear by just the way that I do what I do that no, I don't forgive you for you. I forgive you for me. See, I don't want revenge on you. I don't want you to feel a certain way, because if that happens, that means that you're still orbiting in my universe. You're not orbiting in my universe. I use you as an example to help others. When you love them hard, they'll pull away from you more. Yes, because narcissism is not only a shame-based disorder, but they know what they're doing. So, not saying that they reflect, they know that what they're doing is wrong. They know that they're hurting you. They know that, and they have to wrestle with that. And the way that they wrestle with that is they just blame you for it. Helps them go to sleep at night. It's not my fault. It's their fault. It's their fault that they love me. They should know better. They should have definitely known better. So yeah, Carlitos, yeah. Thank you for joining, Laura. But yeah, that's what happens. You stop, Cat. Cat thinks I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is what, like I said, I could offer you all the world. I could come into your house, sit down, grab a couch, and talk to you for hours on end. But this is something you have to want, and that's why I decided to make the course half price. That way, sometimes a narcissist does drain us financially. That way, it's not that hard. I think it comes down to about, I think it's under $10 for the course, 7 modules. Do not use the link in my freaking. Oh, that just tells you to send me a thing that says break free. But the directions to get to it are actually in my bio. And just use the code break free. That's all. It's there. It's there. Whether you use it or not doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter to me. What matters at the end of the day is that you do find a way to heal. Be it leveraging the things that you love and love you back, leveraging something that you really, really want to do, and for whatever reason you haven't done it yet. Find different ways to make yourself. Oh, thank you, First Class 8574 for following me. Thank you. Oh, no problem, Chef LeBron. This is what I get on to do. This is what I get on to do. You just have to find a way. And I need y'all to get the hell off of the sidelines. I do. There's a real hellified game going on in this world right now. So I need you empaths that are sitting someplace feeling that they're broken, that they'll never get over this. I need y'all to get the hell up and get back in the game. Okay? You're not injured. This is literally in your head. You're not. You're not broken. You're not. I don't care what the narcissist told you on the way out the door. You're not broken. Okay? You're not unlovable. You're not too sensitive. That was all lies. Or will you stop, Cat? I'm going to get off. That was all lies. Will you stop? Cat acting all crazy. Just copy. But yeah, just heal. Just heal. Continue to stay powerful. Thank you, First Class. Just heal. You can do it. I know you can do it. Shit, if I did it, you can do it. Not a problem, Chef LeBron. Guys, message me if I can answer any questions or anything, or you just need somebody to talk to, let me know. I am here. Minister Robinson Church, Real Talk, founder of the Now Movement. No other way but forward. Remember that. And you know what? I want you guys to keep healing, stay powerful. And the reason why I do everything I do, love you guys.